Hi, my name is Philippe, and I'm a student at the University of West Florida, and I am pursuing a bachelor's in fine art in studio art. So the reason I chose this major, well, I feel like the major, I think it was kind of a group effort, actually. I've grown up always being drawn to art, always been interested in watching people create art, always enjoyed creating art, and then I was really young. I can't remember the exact age, but I remember drawing a part of like my class, and I remember getting a lot of attention for it. Like everybody brought up like, oh, come look at Philippe's drawing, you know, apparently it was really good or better or something. And so ever since, I guess, I started getting attention for art, I kept doing it. I graduated high school, and my parents were really interested in me pursuing college or, you know, the university setting. And so I figured if I was going to be made to go to school, I may as well do something that I enjoyed. And that was a really important decision, I think, on my part, to choose a major that actually interested me and something that I could invest a lot of time and effort into. What I hope to go on to do is be a working artist and also possibly teach at the collegiate or university level. So my intention is to go on to get my master's degree, and then from there kind of see what opportunities exist. So some of the courses that you can expect to take when you come to like an undergraduate art program, you're going to start pretty specific. You have your foundations, you have drawing, painting, 2D design, 3D design, graphic arts, sculpture, and all that kind of jazz. And then as you progress through your career, you end up taking more critical thinking courses. You end up asking some bigger questions about why you make art and why it is you're using the mediums and making the decisions you're making. You have reviews with your professors, so you're expected to create work outside of an assignment, to actually make your own kind of work and like explore those avenues. And then to finish it all off, you end up having an exit show, which is actually what I'm standing in right now. This is an exit show of 2 of my contemporaries. You essentially go through the process of putting on an exhibit. So you interact with the gallery space a lot, you install all your work, and you put it on display for everybody to see, either what you've been making for the past 2 to 3 years, or where it is you're headed. So it could be new work or something along those lines. So my favorite part about being in art school is probably it's the creative community. It's about being around people who are excited about the same things you're excited about. You have your work in front of you and you're trying to accomplish something, but you're not alone. You're with 10 other people who are working on their project and trying to accomplish something, and so you're talking things out and you're dialoguing and you're thinking about the implications, and you're together with folks, and so you're not isolated, you're not alone, and you feel, it's a comforting feeling, it's an exciting feeling, and you're surrounded by professors who are also excited about these sorts of things, and they're pushing and pressing you towards being the very best you can be. So the hardest part that I found about being in art school is that it requires you to engage your entire self. That is to say, you're coming to class and you're using your brain, you're trying to understand concepts, you're trying to understand intellectually a problem or situation, but you're also engaging your personal self, your history, because you're being asked to talk about why it is you have an idea and why it is you want to get an idea across, and you're having to think about that, you're having to work through those emotions and feelings and all of that, and then you're actually physically, in a lot of circumstances, pushing material around, building something, and so it requires your physical body to build and to create, essentially. And all of that together is exhausting. It's very tiresome. So you end up leaving very fulfilled but very tired at the same time, as opposed to, say, you know, a lot of majors. You can show up to class, you can sit down for an hour and a half, you can engage intellectually, but you don't have to get into your personal history, you don't have to get into it physically, pushing things around, and you can leave. And art school is a little different in that circumstance. So something that a lot of people may not understand starting out, I certainly didn't when I started out, is that a bachelor's degree is different and separate from a bachelor's in fine art degree. For a bachelor's in fine art, you actually have to apply to that after you get accepted into the university, and you have to qualify into that program. So what plays into that, what a lot of times the professors are looking for is a drive. You end up having to create your own work separate from like an assignment, separate from like somebody telling you to make this or to do that. You have to kind of have a self-motivation coming into the thing, that you just make art because you have to make art, essentially, or you just do it because you love it and you're just motivated and driven in that way. So it doesn't really matter whether you're graded on it or whether you're turning it in or something like that, but what matters is that you're pursuing it regardless of your circumstances and regardless of the benefits or not the benefits. And that, I think, is really important to understand, because what you find when you're making art for art's sake, or you're making art and not getting, something out of it per se, is that art is less about inspiration and more about showing up to work every day. And you just come in and you get to it and you start making something. You may not have very many ideas, you may not really understand what it is you're trying to get out, but you're not going to be able to until you show up and you start making, and you start working, and you start getting to it. And so it's that showing up, it's that self-motivation, it's that drive that really constitutes somebody in the BFA program. That's what the professors are looking for when you're pursuing a fine art degree, and that's what ultimately, those are really important characteristics to have if you're going to try and become an artist later on after school.